The morning started like any other at the Naro Space Center in South Korea. Commander Hyun-soo sat at his workstation, drinking his third cup of coffee while watching the green lines dance across his monitor. For 15 years, he had been listening to space. Most days brought nothing but cosmic static and the occasional beep from old satellites. But today was different. The signal came through at exactly 9:47 a.m. At first, Hyun-soo thought it was interference from a passing airplane or maybe a problem with the equipment. The pattern was too clean, too organized to be natural. He leaned forward and adjusted his headphones, listening more carefully. The sound was mathematical. Perfect sequences of tones that followed patterns he recognized from his university days. Prime numbers. The first 20 prime numbers played out in electronic beeps that grew stronger by the minute. Hyun-soo's hands shook as he reached for the red phone on his desk. This was the direct line to Dr. So-jin in the linguistics department. She answered on the first ring. So-jin here. Doctor, I need you down here right now. Bring your team. All of them. What is it, Hyun-soo? I think someone is trying to talk to us. Someone not from Earth. Dr. So-jin had studied languages her entire life. Korean, English, Japanese, Mandarin, Arabic, and 12 others. She had spent years working on theoretical alien communication for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence project. But she had never expected to actually need that training. When she arrived at Hyun-soo's station, the signal had changed. The prime numbers had stopped. Now the transmission showed star charts, perfect diagrams of nearby solar systems with Earth clearly marked in the center, mathematical formulas that described orbital mechanics, and then something that made her blood run cold. Images. The first image showed creatures that walked on two legs like humans, but their skin was pale blue and their heads were larger than normal. They had 4 arms instead of 2, and their eyes were completely black. They stood in what looked like a garden filled with strange plants under an orange sky. The second image showed their ships, massive crystal structures that seemed to grow rather than be built. They floated through space like living things, beautiful and alien. The third image showed Earth as seen from space with a small symbol hovering near it. The same symbol appeared next to other planets in other star systems. Dr. So-jin realized with growing horror that this was a map. A map showing Earth's location in relation to whatever civilization was sending this message. Hyun-soo, call Admiral Taemin. Tell him we have a Code 7 situation. A Code 7 was the highest level of alert in the Korean Space Defense Force. It meant potential alien contact. Admiral Taemin arrived within 2 hours, bringing with him a team of military analysts, computer experts, and translators. The elderly man had served in the military for 40 years, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. He stood behind Dr. So-jin as she worked to decode more of the transmission. What are they saying? He asked. Dr. So-jin pointed to her screen. They are using mathematics as a universal language. See these patterns here? They are showing us how their number system works. And here, they are teaching us their version of physics, basic stuff that any intelligent species would understand. But what do they want? That is what worries me. Look at this. The latest part of the transmission showed a sequence Dr. So-jin had been dreading. Images of the blue-skinned aliens standing next to humans. Humans who looked happy and peaceful. Humans who were holding hands with the aliens. Humans who were learning from them. But to military minds trained in Earth's violent history, the images looked different. They looked like humans being controlled. Humans being led somewhere. Humans who had given up their freedom. Admiral, said Colonel Dong-hyun, one of Taemin's senior officers. In every case in human history, when a more advanced civilization makes contact with a less advanced one, the results are conquest, slavery, or extinction. The Aztecs thought Cortez was a god. That did not end well for the Aztecs. Admiral Taemin nodded grimly. What is their technology level compared to ours? Dr. So-jin looked up from her computer. Based on what they are showing us, they are centuries ahead of us. Maybe thousands of years. They have faster than light travel, energy sources we cannot even understand, and ships that could carry entire cities. And they know exactly where we are, added Hyun-soo. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. If these aliens wanted to conquer Earth, humanity would have no way to stop them. The only question was whether they could mount enough of a defense to make the aliens think twice about attacking. Admiral Taemin made the hardest decision of his career. Send word to all allied nations. Activate the Global Defense Coalition emergency protocols. I want every nuclear submarine, every satellite, every hidden weapons platform ready for combat within 48 hours. Sir, Dr. Sojin said quietly, what if they really are peaceful? What if they genuinely want to help us? The Admiral looked at her with sad eyes. Doctor, in all of human history, no one has ever conquered the world by announcing their peaceful intentions first. Every invasion in history began with messages of friendship and cooperation. The only difference is that this time, the invasion is coming from the stars. As the hours passed, more messages arrived from the alien ships. They sent information about their society, their technology, their culture. They showed images of dozens of other species living in harmony across the galaxy. They painted a picture of a peaceful confederation of worlds working together for mutual benefit. But buried in the technical data were details that terrified the military analysts. These aliens had weapons that could crack planets. Their ships were powered by controlled black holes. Their smallest vessels carried more firepower than all of Earth's nuclear arsenals combined. Dr. Sojin worked through the night, translating more of the alien language. She began to understand their writing system, their grammar, their way of thinking. And the more she understood, the more convinced she became that these beings truly believed they were offering humanity a gift. The problem was that humanity had learned long ago that gifts from strangers usually came with a price. And based on human history, that price was usually freedom. At dawn, Admiral Taman authorized the transmission of humanity's response to the alien message. The response was written in the same mathematical language the aliens had used, but the message was pure human military doctrine. Unknown vessels, you are approaching sovereign human space. Identify yourselves and state your intentions. Maintain your current distance. Any attempt to enter our solar system without permission will be considered an act of war. This is your only warning. The message shot out into space at the speed of light, carrying with it humanity's first words to another intelligent species. Those words were not a greeting or a welcome. They were a challenge. 3 days later, long-range sensors detected the alien fleet beginning to move toward Earth's solar system. Admiral Taman gave the order to activate all defense systems. Humanity's answer to the stars would not be words of peace, but the thunder of weapons designed to kill gods. The galaxy was about to learn that humans were not like other species. Earth had taught its children that survival meant being ready to fight anyone, anywhere, at any time. Even beings from the stars. Ambassador Velnara stood in the crystal chamber of her ship, the peaceful dawn, watching the stars through walls that seemed to be made of living glass. She had performed this same ritual 47 times before with other newly discovered species. The pattern was always the same. Send greetings, share knowledge, wait for the happy response, begin the integration process. Her species, the Cathari, had evolved on a world where the greatest danger was running out of sweet fruits during the dry season. Their planet had no predators, no natural disasters, no wars. For millions of years, they had lived in harmony with their environment and each other. When they finally developed space travel, they discovered that most of the galaxy was exactly like their homeworld: peaceful, safe, cooperative. Velnara had never heard the word violence until she began studying ancient galactic history. Even then, it was just a theoretical concept, something that primitive species might have done billions of years ago before they learned better. She touched the communication console with her 4 delicate hands. The device glowed softly and showed her the message they had received from the Sol 3 species. She read it again, trying to understand. Unknown vessels, you are approaching sovereign human space. Identify yourselves and state your intentions. Maintain your current distance. Any attempt to enter our solar system without permission will be considered an act of war. This is your only warning. The word war did not exist in her language. Her translation computer had to create a new word by combining concepts of disagreement and harm. Even then, Velnara could not understand what it meant. How could intelligent beings disagree so strongly that they would want to cause harm? She called for her cultural advisor, a young Sithari named Kolthara, who specialized in helping new species adjust to galactic civilization. Kolthara, please review this message from the Sol 3 beings. I believe there may be a translation error. Kolthara studied the message for several minutes. His large black eyes grew wider as he read. Ambassador, I do not think this is a translation error. I think these beings are afraid of us. Afraid, but we sent them our complete cultural database. They must understand that we mean no harm. Perhaps their species thinks differently than ours. Maybe they need more time to understand our intentions. Velnara nodded. This made sense. Some species were naturally cautious. The Xanathi had taken 3 days to respond to first contact. The Morthan had asked many questions before agreeing to meet. But they had all eventually understood that the Galactic Harmony Council only wanted to help. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Sojin sat in a secure conference room with military leaders from 12 different countries. The room was filled with cigarette smoke and the tension of people who had not slept in days. On the wall, a large screen showed everything they had learned about the alien ships. General Donghyun pointed at the display. Look at these energy readings. Their smallest ship produces more power than our largest nuclear reactor. Their weapons, if that is what these devices are, could level entire cities. But they say they come in peace, Dr. Sojin argued. Every message they send talks about cooperation and mutual benefit. Doctor, said General Smith, the American representative, that is exactly what every conqueror in history has said. The British came to India to establish trade. The Spanish came to the Americas to spread religion. The Germans came to Poland to protect ethnic Germans. They all claimed peaceful intentions right up until the shooting started. Dr. Sojin wanted to argue, but she could not deny the logic. Human history was full of examples of powerful civilizations destroying weaker ones. The pattern was always the same. First came traders and diplomats. Then came soldiers and governors. Finally came slavery and extinction. Admiral Taemin spread out star charts on the conference table. According to their transmissions, they control over 300 star systems. 300, that means they have conquered at least that many other species, and now they want to add us to their collection. What if we are wrong? Dr. Sojin asked. What if they really are peaceful and we start a war for no reason? Then we die as free humans instead of living as alien slaves, General Donghyun replied. Back on the peaceful dawn, Ambassador Velnara received another transmission from Earth. This time it was not from their military leaders but from their scientists and scholars. Dr. Sojin had managed to convince her government to allow one last attempt at peaceful communication. The text message was longer and more detailed than the first one. It explained human concerns about being conquered. It asked specific questions about alien intentions. It requested guarantees that Earth would remain independent. Most importantly, it asked the aliens to stop approaching Earth until proper diplomatic protocols could be established. Velnara read the message with growing confusion. These humans seemed to think that joining the galactic community meant giving up their independence. They acted as if they expected to be enslaved or destroyed. What kind of horrible history did these beings have that made them so suspicious? She consulted the galactic database for information about species that had shown similar reactions to first contact. The search returned 0 results. In 3,000 years of galactic exploration, no species had ever responded to peaceful contact with threats and military posturing. Kolthara brought her a detailed analysis of human transmissions. Ambassador, I have been studying their electromagnetic communications. These beings have a very strange culture. They produce entertainment that shows members of their own species fighting and killing each other. They have news broadcasts about something called war happening on their own planet, between different groups of their own species. That is impossible, Velnara said. Intelligent species do not fight among themselves. Fighting is inefficient. It wastes resources and reduces population growth. I have verified the data 17 times. These humans regularly engage in organized violence against other humans. They have weapons designed specifically to kill other members of their own species. They have entire institutions dedicated to training individuals to fight and kill. Velnara felt something she had never experienced before. Fear. Not the simple caution that comes from facing the unknown, but actual terror at the realization that she might be dealing with something dangerous. On Earth, the Global Defense Coalition was reaching the same conclusion about the aliens. If beings with such advanced technology were willing to approach an unknown species without fear, it meant they had never encountered anything that could threaten them. That level of confidence only came from overwhelming military superiority. Dr. Sojin made one final attempt to find a peaceful solution. She sent a simple message to the alien fleet. We want to talk, but we also want to remain free. Can you guarantee that humans will keep control of our own planet and our own lives? The response came back within hours. Ambassador Velnara had consulted with the Galactic Harmony Council and received permission to offer Earth the standard integration package. Greetings, humans of Sol 3. We welcome you to the Galactic community. As new members, you will receive advanced technology, extended lifespans, and freedom from want or suffering. In exchange, you will contribute your unique perspectives and abilities to our collective knowledge. Your planet will be managed by galactic administrators, who will ensure optimal resource distribution and population happiness. This is how all civilized worlds operate. We look forward to your integration. Dr. So-Jin stared at the translation on her screen. The aliens were offering to take over Earth's government and manage human beings like livestock. They spoke of integration the way humans might talk about domesticating wild animals. She picked up the secure phone and called Admiral Taemin. Admiral, they just confirmed our worst fears. They want to put Earth under alien management. They think they are offering us a gift, but what they are describing is the end of human independence. Admiral Taemin was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was heavy with sadness. Then we fight. God help us, we fight. Both sides prepared for what they believed would be a necessary conflict. The humans prepared to defend their freedom against alien conquest. The aliens prepared to rescue a violent species from their own primitive nature. Neither side understood that they were about to start the galaxy's first war in over 2 millennia. Captain Ji-hoon stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Incheon, watching his tactical display with growing tension. The alien fleet had crossed the orbit of Neptune 12 hours ago. 7 crystal ships, each one larger than a city, moving toward Earth at speeds that should have been impossible. The Incheon was humanity's newest warship, built in secret over the past 5 years in orbital shipyards hidden behind the moon. It carried enough nuclear missiles to destroy a small continent and railguns that could punch holes through mountains. But looking at the alien vessels on his screen, Ji-hoon felt like a child with a slingshot facing an army of tanks. "Sir," called out Lieutenant Yuna from the weapons station. "Long-range sensors are picking up some kind of energy field around their ships. It looks like shielding technology. How strong? Unknown, sir. But the energy readings are off the charts. Whatever those shields are made of, they are not using any technology we understand." Ji-hoon nodded grimly. He had expected this. The aliens had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. Of course they would have defenses that humans had never imagined. Aboard the Peaceful Dawn, Ambassador Velnara watched the small blue planet growing larger through her ship's crystal walls. Earth looked beautiful from space with its white clouds and deep blue oceans. But the more she learned about the species that lived there, the more worried she became. Her science officer, Mol Vera, had been studying human broadcasts for days. The information he had discovered painted a terrifying picture of a species unlike anything in galactic records. "Ambassador," Mol Vera said, approaching with a data tablet in his hands, "I have completed my analysis of human entertainment transmissions. What I found is deeply disturbing. Show me." Mol Vera activated the tablet, displaying images from human movies and television shows. These beings regularly create fictional stories about members of their own species harming each other. They seem to find entertainment in watching simulated violence and death. This is not normal behavior for any intelligent species. Velnara studied the images with growing horror. Humans pointing weapons at other humans. Explosions that destroyed buildings. Vehicles crashing at high speeds. Battle scenes with hundreds of individuals fighting and dying. "Surely this cannot be real," she said. "No species would actually enjoy watching violence." "I thought the same thing, Ambassador. But then I analyzed their news broadcasts. The fictional violence is based on real events from their history. These humans have been fighting wars against each other for their entire recorded history. They have weapons specifically designed to kill as many of their own species as possible." Velnara felt sick. In 3,000 years of galactic civilization, no species had ever shown such behavior. The idea of intelligent beings deliberately harming each other was beyond her comprehension. "How many of them are there?" she asked. "Approximately 8 billion individuals on their home planet." 8 billion warriors, Velnara whispered. The number was staggering. The entire Galactic Harmony Council military force consisted of 12 individuals trained in nonviolent conflict resolution. They had never needed more. On Earth, Admiral Taemin sat in the Global Defense Command Center, watching tactical displays that showed every human military asset in the solar system. Hidden bases on the Moon and Mars, weapon platforms disguised as asteroids, nuclear submarines lurking in Earth's oceans, satellite networks that could rain death from orbit. It was the largest military force humanity had ever assembled. Every nation on Earth had contributed their most advanced weapons to the defense fleet. American stealth bombers, Russian hypersonic missiles, Chinese railgun satellites, Korean cyber warfare systems, Israeli missile defense networks. For the first time in human history, every military force on the planet was working together, and Admiral Taemin knew it would not be enough. General Dong Hyun, he called to his second-in-command. "What is the status of Operation Prometheus?" General Dong Hyun consulted his tablet. "All units are in position, Admiral. We have nuclear weapons targeted at every approach vector to Earth. If the aliens try to land troops on our planet, we can turn the entire surface into radioactive glass. And our own people? We have evacuation protocols ready. Deep underground bunkers that can keep 10 million people alive for 20 years. It is not ideal, but humanity will survive even if we have to destroy our own planet to stop the invasion." This was the human way of thinking. If they could not win, they would make sure their enemies paid such a terrible price for victory that it would not be worth it. Earth's children had learned long ago that sometimes the only way to stay free was to be willing to die fighting. The alien fleet reached the orbit of Mars and stopped. For 6 hours they remained motionless while both sides watched each other across the void of space. Ambassador Velnara sent one final message to Earth. "Humans of Sol 3, we understand that you are concerned about our intentions. We wish to meet with your leaders to discuss how we can help your species join the galactic community peacefully. We will approach your planet slowly to give you time to prepare for our arrival. We look forward to friendship between our peoples." Dr. Sojin translated the message for the Global Defense Council. To human ears, it sounded like an ultimatum. The aliens were giving humanity time to surrender before they began their final approach. Admiral Taemin made the decision that would change the course of galactic history. "All units, this is command. The alien fleet is beginning their final approach to Earth. As of this moment, we are at war. Defend our home, defend our freedom, defend our future." The alien ships began moving again, their crystal hulls glowing softly as they approached the inner solar system. They moved with the confidence of beings who had never known fear, never faced real resistance, never encountered a species that would choose death over submission. Captain Ji-hoon watched the lead alien ship grow larger on his screen. It was beautiful in its own way, like a massive piece of living art drifting through space. But beauty could not change what it represented. Conquest, slavery, the end of human independence. "Weapons officer," he said quietly. "Prepare to fire." "Sir, they have not targeted us. They are not showing any hostile behavior. They do not need to target us, Lieutenant. Their very presence here is an act of war. These beings want to turn humanity into pets. That is not going to happen." The peaceful dawn crossed the orbit of Earth's moon. Ambassador Velnara stood in her crystal chamber, preparing for what she hoped would be a historic moment. First contact with a new species. The beginning of friendship between worlds. The expansion of peace and harmony to another corner of the galaxy. She never saw the missiles coming. Captain Ji-hoon's finger hovered over the firing control for exactly 3 seconds. 3 seconds to think about starting the first interstellar war in galactic history. 3 seconds to decide whether humanity would live free or die fighting. He pressed the button. The Earth defense ship Incheon fired every weapon it carried in a single devastating volley. Nuclear warheads, railgun rounds, particle beams, and kinetic kill vehicles all launched simultaneously at the alien fleet. A dozen other human warships did the same, turning the space around Earth into a storm of destructive energy. The peaceful dawn's shields, designed to protect against cosmic dust and solar radiation, lasted exactly 4.7 seconds against weapons designed to crack bunkers and vaporize cities. The crystal ship broke apart like a flower made of glass, its beautiful structure collapsing into glittering fragments that reflected Earth's sunlight as they tumbled into the void. Ambassador Velnara died instantly, never understanding why the species she had come to help had chosen to destroy her instead. The war between humanity and the galaxy had begun. Captain Ji-hoon stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Incheon. watching his tactical display with growing tension. The alien fleet had crossed the orbit of Neptune 12 hours ago, 7 crystal ships, each one larger than a city, moving toward Earth at speeds that should have been impossible. The Incheon was humanity's newest warship, built in secret over the past 5 years in orbital shipyards hidden behind the moon. It carried enough nuclear missiles to destroy a small continent and railguns that could punch holes through mountains. But looking at the alien vessels on his screen, Ji-hoon felt like a child with a slingshot facing an army of tanks. "Sir," called out Lieutenant Yuna from the weapons station. "Long-range sensors are picking up some kind of energy field around their ships. It looks like shielding technology. How strong? Unknown, sir. But the energy readings are off the charts. Whatever those shields are made of, they are not using any technology we understand." Ji-hoon nodded grimly. He had expected this. The aliens had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. Of course they would have defenses that humans had never imagined. Aboard the Peaceful Dawn, Ambassador Velnara watched the small blue planet growing larger through her ship's crystal walls. Earth looked beautiful from space with its white clouds and deep blue oceans. But the more she learned about the species that lived there, the more worried she became. Her science officer, Malvera, had been studying human broadcasts for days. The information he had discovered painted a terrifying picture of a species unlike anything in galactic records. "Ambassador," Malvera said, approaching with a data tablet in his hands, "I have completed my analysis of human entertainment transmissions. What I found is deeply disturbing. Show me." Malvera activated the tablet, displaying images from human movies and television shows. These beings regularly create fictional stories about members of their own species harming each other. They seem to find entertainment in watching simulated violence and death. This is not normal behavior for any intelligent species. Velnara studied the images with growing horror. Humans pointing weapons at other humans, explosions that destroyed buildings, vehicles crashing at high speeds, battle scenes with hundreds of individuals fighting and dying. "Surely this cannot be real," she said. "No species would actually enjoy watching violence." "I thought the same thing, Ambassador. But then I analyzed their news broadcasts. The fictional violence is based on real events from their history. These humans have been fighting wars against each other for their entire recorded history. They have weapons specifically designed to kill as many of their own species as possible." Velnara felt sick. In 3,000 years of galactic civilization, no species had ever shown such behavior. The idea of intelligent beings deliberately harming each other was beyond her comprehension. "How many of them are there?" she asked. "Approximately 8 billion individuals on their home planet." 8 billion warriors, Velnara whispered. The number was staggering. The entire Galactic Harmony Council military force consisted of 12 individuals, trained in non-violent conflict resolution. They had never needed more. On Earth, Admiral Taemin sat in the Global Defense Command Center, watching tactical displays that showed every human military asset in the solar system. Hidden bases on the Moon and Mars, weapon platforms disguised as asteroids, nuclear submarines lurking in Earth's oceans, satellite networks that could rain death from orbit. It was the largest military force humanity had ever assembled. Every nation on Earth had contributed their most advanced weapons to the defense fleet. American stealth bombers, Russian hypersonic missiles, Chinese railgun satellites, Korean cyber warfare systems, Israeli missile defense networks. For the first time in human history, every military force on the planet was working together, and Admiral Taemin knew it would not be enough. "General Dong-hyun," he called to his second-in-command. "What is the status of Operation Prometheus?" General Dong-hyun consulted his tablet. "All units are in position, Admiral. We have nuclear weapons targeted at every approach vector to Earth. If the aliens try to land troops on our planet, we can turn the entire surface into radioactive glass. And our own people? We have evacuation protocols ready. Deep underground bunkers that can keep 10 million people alive for 20 years. It is not ideal, but humanity will survive even if we have to destroy our own planet to stop the invasion." This was the human way of thinking. If they could not win, they would make sure their enemies paid such a terrible price for victory that it would not be worth it. Earth's children had learned long ago that sometimes the only way to stay free was to be willing to die fighting. The alien fleet reached the orbit of Mars and stopped. For 6 hours they remained motionless while both sides watched each other across the void of space. Ambassador Velnara sent one final message to Earth. Humans of Sol 3, we understand that you are concerned about our intentions. We wish to meet with your leaders to discuss how we can help your species join the galactic community peacefully. We will approach your planet slowly to give you time to prepare for our arrival. We look forward to friendship between our peoples. Dr. Sojin translated the message for the Global Defense Council. To human ears, it sounded like an ultimatum. The aliens were giving humanity time to surrender before they began their final approach. Admiral Taemin made the decision that would change the course of galactic history. All units, this is command. The alien fleet is beginning their final approach to Earth. As of this moment, we are at war. Defend our home. Defend our freedom. Defend our future. The alien ships began moving again, their crystal hulls glowing softly as they approached the inner solar system. They moved with the confidence of beings who had never known fear, never faced real resistance, never encountered a species that would choose death over submission. Captain Ji-hoon watched the lead alien ship grow larger on his screen. It was beautiful in its own way, like a massive piece of living art drifting through space. But beauty could not change what it represented. Conquest, slavery, the end of human independence. "Weapons officer," he said quietly. "Prepare to fire." "Sir, they have not targeted us. They are not showing any hostile behavior. They do not need to target us, Lieutenant. Their very presence here is an act of war. These beings want to turn humanity into pets. That is not going to happen." The peaceful dawn crossed the orbit of Earth's moon. Ambassador Velnara stood in her crystal chamber, preparing for what she hoped would be a historic moment. First contact with a new species, the beginning of friendship between worlds, the expansion of peace and harmony to another corner of the galaxy. She never saw the missiles coming. Captain Ji-hoon's finger hovered over the firing control for exactly 3 seconds. 3 seconds to think about starting the first interstellar war in galactic history. 3 seconds to decide whether humanity would live free or die fighting. He pressed the button. The Earth defense ship Incheon fired every weapon it carried in a single devastating volley. Nuclear warheads, railgun rounds, particle beams, and kinetic kill vehicles all launched simultaneously at the alien fleet. A dozen other human warships did the same, turning the space around Earth into a storm of destructive energy. The peaceful dawn's shields, designed to protect against cosmic dust and solar radiation, lasted exactly 4.7 seconds against weapons designed to crack bunkers and vaporize cities. The crystal ship broke apart like a flower made of glass, its beautiful structure collapsing into glittering fragments that reflected Earth's sunlight as they tumbled into the void. Ambassador Velnara died instantly, never understanding why the species she had come to help had chosen to destroy her instead. The war between humanity and the galaxy had begun. Dr. Ketara floated in her research pod 12 light-years from Earth, studying data that made no sense according to everything she knew about life in the universe. For 6 months, her science team had been monitoring the human homeworld from what they hoped was a safe distance, trying to understand how such a violent species could have evolved. Her assistant, a young Altarian named Zekvel, approached with the latest atmospheric readings from the blue planet. His forearms trembled as he handed over the data tablet. "Doctor, these numbers cannot be correct. I have checked them 17 times. Dr. Ketara examined the readings and felt her own heart skip several beats. The planet Earth was not just unusual. It was impossible. No intelligent life should have been able to survive on such a world, let alone develop advanced technology. Zekvel, send these readings to the Galactic Council immediately and prepare the emergency communication system. They need to see this." Within hours, the emergency hologram of Counselor Yeltara appeared in the research pod. Her usual calm expression was replaced by obvious worry as she reviewed the data. "Dr. Katara, please explain what I'm looking at." These atmospheric readings suggest that the human planet experiences weather patterns that would be classified as natural disasters on any civilized world. "That is correct, Counselor. Earth experiences massive storms that can level entire cities, temperature variations that would kill most galactic species within minutes, atmospheric pressure changes that would crush our bodies. And this happens regularly, sometimes several times per year." Dr. Katara activated a holographic display showing Earth's weather patterns over the past century. Hurricane systems larger than most moons, tornado formations that could destroy everything in their path, blizzards that buried entire regions under frozen water, lightning strikes that carried more energy than most galactic weapons. How do the humans survive this? Counselor Yeltara asked. They do not just survive it, Counselor. They have learned to predict it, prepare for it, and even use it to their advantage. They build structures designed to withstand forces that would destroy our cities. They have developed warning systems that tell them when deadly weather is approaching. And when the storms come, they simply endure them. Zekvel brought up another display showing geological data. Doctor, should we also show the counselor the tectonic activity? Dr. Katara nodded grimly. Counselor, the weather is only the beginning. The planet itself is actively trying to kill everything that lives on it. The hologram showed Earth's geological structure, massive plates of rock that moved and crashed into each other, creating earthquakes that could split mountains, volcanic systems that could bury entire continents under ash and molten rock, fault lines that regularly shifted and destroyed whatever the humans had built above them. This is impossible, Counselor Yeltara whispered. No species can develop civilization on a world that unstable. And yet they have, Dr. Katara replied. Not only have they survived, but they have thrived. They build their cities on fault lines and then simply rebuild them when the earthquakes knock them down. They live next to active volcanoes and develop systems to predict eruptions. They treat natural disasters the way we treat minor inconveniences. Zekvel activated another display showing orbital mechanics data. Counselor, the planet's relationship with its star and moon creates additional problems. The gravitational forces cause massive water movements called tides that can flood coastal areas twice every day. The planet's rotation creates wind patterns that spawn the storm systems Dr. Ketara mentioned. Show her the gravity readings, Dr. Ketara said quietly. The new display made Counselor Yeltara take a step backward. That cannot be accurate. The gravity on that planet is nearly 3 times what most galactic species can survive. It is accurate. These humans have evolved under crushing gravitational forces that would kill most of us within hours. Their bone structure is dense. Their muscle systems are incredibly powerful. Their cardiovascular systems are designed to pump fluid against forces that would stop our hearts. Dr. Ketara paused the display and looked directly at the counselor's hologram. But the most terrifying discovery is not the planet itself. It is what lives on the planet with the humans. A new set of images appeared in the hologram. Creatures that looked like they had been designed by a mad scientist. Massive predators with teeth longer than most galactic beings were tall. Venomous creatures that could kill with a single bite. Microscopic organisms that could destroy a body from the inside. These humans share their world with creatures that exist only to hunt and kill, Dr. Ketara explained. Large predators that can run faster than our vehicles and bite through metal. Small creatures whose venom can kill in minutes. Parasites that invade the body and consume it from within. Zekvel brought up footage that human satellites had captured of wildlife on Earth. Lions hunting in groups with coordinated tactics. Sharks that could detect a single drop of blood from kilometers away. Spiders that could kill creatures hundreds of times larger than themselves. How do they defend themselves against such creatures? Counselor Yeltara asked. They do not just defend themselves, Dr. Katara replied. They hunt the predators. They have turned the hunters into the hunted. Humans actively seek out the most dangerous creatures on their planet and kill them for sport. The hologram showed images of human hunters tracking massive predators through dangerous terrain. Humans diving into water filled with creatures that could bite them in half. Humans climbing mountains where a single mistake meant death just to prove they could do it. This explains everything, Counselor Yeltara said, her voice filled with a mixture of horror and understanding. They are not naturally violent. They are the product of a world that has been trying to kill them for millions of years. Exactly, Dr. Ketara confirmed. Every generation of humans has faced extinction. Not from war or disease, but from their own planet. Natural selection has created a species that sees danger as a challenge to overcome rather than a threat to avoid. Meanwhile, on Earth, Lieutenant Colonel Minho sat in his office at the Global Defense Headquarters, preparing humanity's first attempt at explaining themselves to the galaxy. As the newly appointed Director of Xenological Affairs, his job was to try to establish communication with the aliens who were studying humanity from a distance. Dr. Sojin had finally managed to create a basic translation system for galactic languages. It was primitive compared to alien technology, but it allowed humans to send simple messages that the galactic species could understand. Minho's message was carefully crafted to explain humanity's perspective without sounding threatening. It took him 3 days to write because he had to explain concepts that had no equivalent in galactic languages. To the beings watching our world from afar, we know you are studying us. We want you to understand that we are not evil or naturally violent. Our world has taught us that survival requires strength, preparation, and the willingness to fight when necessary. We evolved alongside creatures that could kill us in seconds. Our planet regularly tries to destroy everything we build. Every generation of humans has faced extinction and found a way to survive. We became warriors because our world demanded it. We do not seek conquest or destruction. We seek to protect what we love, our families, our homes, our future. When you approached our world, we did what every human generation has done when faced with potential threat. We prepared to fight. We understand now that you meant no harm, but we hope you understand that we could not risk the survival of our species on hope alone. Our history has taught us that those who are not prepared to defend themselves do not survive. The message was transmitted toward the alien research fleet using modified radio telescopes. It would take years for the message to reach them, but it was humanity's first attempt to explain their nature to beings who had never faced a real threat in their entire evolutionary history. Dr. Ketara received the transmission 3 months later. As she read the translated message, she began to understand something that would change galactic civilization forever. Humans were not monsters. They were the ultimate survivors. Every aspect of their violent nature was a tool that had been forged by millions of years of facing impossible odds and finding a way to win. She prepared her final report to the Galactic Council with a new understanding of what humanity represented. They were not a threat to galactic peace. They were the solution to a problem the galaxy did not even know it had. In a universe where every species had evolved in safety and comfort, humanity had evolved in constant danger. They were the only species in the galaxy that truly understood how to fight, how to survive, and how to protect others. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the most peaceful outcome required having the most dangerous guardians. The Great Assembly of the Galactic Harmony Council had never seen such chaos. For 3 days, representatives from across the galaxy had been debating what to do about the human problem. The revelation that Sol 3 was a death world had changed everything, but it had not made the decisions any easier. Counselor Yeltara stood at the center of the crystal chamber, trying to maintain order as hundreds of beings argued in dozens of different languages. Some wanted to quarantine humanity forever. Others suggested trying to relocate them to a safer world. A few extremists even whispered about using terraforming technology to eliminate the threat entirely. Dr. Katara waited patiently for her turn to speak. In her hands, she held the complete analysis of human civilization, a document that would either save or doom an entire species. When the chamber finally quieted, she activated the central holographic display. "Honored representatives," she began, "I have spent 8 months studying the humans. What I have discovered will challenge everything we believe about civilization and survival." The hologram showed images of human cities, massive structures that housed millions of beings in spaces that should have been uninhabitable, buildings that reached toward the sky like metallic mountains. Transportation systems that moved millions of people every day with clockwork precision. These humans have built a civilization that functions under conditions that would destroy most of our worlds. Dr. Ketara continued. They have created technology specifically designed to survive on a planet that constantly tries to kill them. Counselor Morthek of the Altarian Federation raised one of his forearms. But they are still violent. They still build weapons and threaten peaceful contact. Yes, they build weapons, Dr. Kedara agreed. But consider why. On their world, the choice is simple. Become strong enough to survive or die. They did not choose violence. Violence chose them. The hologram changed to show human emergency response systems, rescue teams that rushed into burning buildings to save strangers, medical personnel who worked in dangerous conditions to help the injured, military forces that risked their lives to protect civilian populations. Look at how they use their violent nature, Dr. Katara said. Yes, they can kill, but they also sacrifice themselves to save others. Their warriors are also their protectors. Their weapons are also their tools for rescue and construction. Counselor Velkaran of the Peaceful Traders Guild stood up, his blue skin pale with worry. Dr. Katara, you speak as if their violence is a positive trait. How can deliberate harm ever be considered good? Dr. Ketara paused before answering. This was the question that would determine humanity's fate. Counselor, let me ask you something. What would happen if a hostile species invaded our galaxy tomorrow? That is impossible, Velkaron replied. There are no hostile species. We have achieved universal peace. Have we achieved peace, or have we simply been fortunate? Dr. Ketara asked. What if tomorrow beings from outside our galaxy arrived with weapons and the intention to conquer? What would we do? The chamber fell silent. In 3,000 years of galactic civilization, no one had ever considered such a possibility. Their entire society was built on the assumption that all intelligent life would naturally choose cooperation over conflict. We would negotiate, Counselor Yeltara said, but her voice lacked confidence. And if they refused to negotiate? If they simply began destroying our worlds and enslaving our people? No one answered. The truth was obvious to everyone in the chamber. The Galactic Harmony Council had no ability to defend itself against a truly hostile force. They had built their civilization on hope and good intentions, never considering that someday they might meet beings who did not share their values. Dr. Katara activated a new display showing the destroyed remains of the peaceful dawn. When we approached the humans, they responded with violence because their entire evolutionary history taught them that strangers bearing gifts usually want something in return. They were wrong about us, but their response reveals something important. What? Asked Counselor Yeltara. They know how to fight. More than that, they know how to win. Every weapon they used against our ship was designed to be efficient and deadly. Every tactic they employed was based on thousands of years of combat experience. They are not just warriors. They are the perfect warriors. Meanwhile, on Earth, Fleet Admiral Wansik stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned Earth defense ship Busan, watching long-range sensors that showed alien activity at the edge of the solar system. For months, the aliens had maintained their distance, studying humanity like scientists observing dangerous animals in a zoo. Dr. So Jin approached with the latest translation of alien communications. Her work had improved dramatically over the past year, allowing humans to understand more of what the galactic community was saying about them. Admiral, I have been monitoring their council sessions. They are divided on what to do about us. Some want to contain us, others want to help us. But there is a growing faction that sees us as something else entirely. What do you mean? They are beginning to understand that we are not naturally evil. We are naturally prepared. Some of them are starting to ask what would happen if they faced a real threat and had no one to protect them. Admiral Wansik nodded thoughtfully. So they are finally realizing that peace only works when everyone agrees to be peaceful. Exactly. And they are starting to realize that in a universe full of unknown dangers, having allies who know how to fight might not be such a bad thing. Dr. Sojin showed him the most recent intercepted transmission from the alien research fleet. It was a message from Dr. Ketara to the Galactic Council, and it contained a single word that changed everything. Guardian. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, Dr. Ketara was presenting her final recommendation. I propose that we establish a new classification for the human species, not as a threat to be contained, but as a resource to be cultivated. Explain, Counselor Yeltara said. Throughout our galaxy, we have scientists, artists, engineers, and philosophers. We have species that excel at mathematics, music, literature, and peaceful diplomacy, but we have no one who excels at protection. We have no one who understands how to defend against those who would do us harm. Dr. Katara activated a final holographic display showing human military technology. Ships designed for combat, weapons designed for efficiency, defensive systems designed to protect innocent lives. The humans have spent their entire evolutionary history learning how to protect what they love. They have turned survival into an art form. They have created a civilization based on the principle that those who can fight have a duty to protect those who cannot. Counselor Morthek spoke up again. But how can we trust beings who respond to peaceful contact with violence? Because, Dr. Katara replied, when they realized they had made a mistake, they tried to explain themselves rather than attack again. When they understood that we were truly peaceful, they stopped shooting and started talking. Their violence is not mindless aggression. It is controlled defense. She paused to let that sink in before continuing. I recommend that we offer the humans a new role in galactic civilization, not as members who need to be managed, but as guardians who choose to protect. The debate that followed lasted for 6 more hours. Representatives argued about trust, safety, and the wisdom of allying with a violent species. But in the end, the logic was undeniable. The galaxy had achieved peace by being fortunate enough to develop in isolation. But luck was not a sustainable defense strategy. Commander In-Woo received the message 3 days later, while patrolling the outer edge of Earth's solar system in the heavily armed vessel Soul's Pride. The transmission was in broken human language, translated by alien computers that were still learning how to communicate with Deathworlders, humans, of Sol 3. The Galactic Harmony Council wishes to propose a new relationship between our civilizations. We understand now that your violent response to our peaceful contact was based on your evolutionary need to protect yourselves and those you care about. We also understand that, in a universe full of unknown dangers, having allies who know how to defend against threats might benefit all civilized species. We wish to discuss the possibility of humans serving as guardians and protectors for the galactic community. In exchange for this protection, we offer access to our technology, our knowledge, and our friendship. We do not seek to manage or control your species. We seek to learn from your strength while sharing our wisdom. If you are interested in this proposal, please send representatives to the coordinates attached to this message. We will meet at a neutral location to discuss terms. Commander In-Woo read the message 3 times before believing it was real. The aliens were not asking humans to surrender or submit. They were asking humans to do what they had always done: protect those who could not protect themselves. For the first time since first contact, humanity was being offered a role that matched their nature instead of demanding that they change it. The war between Earth and the galaxy was about to become the alliance that would reshape both civilizations forever. The meeting point was a small space station at the edge of Sithari space, exactly halfway between Earth and the nearest galactic colony. For 6 months, 2 fleets had faced each other across the void of space, each side unsure whether they were looking at enemies or potential allies. Captain Soo-young stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Busan Guardian, watching the alien vessels through her tactical display. The galactic ships looked different now that she understood their true nature. What had once appeared to be advanced warships were revealed to be converted cargo vessels and research platforms. Their energy signatures came from life support systems and scientific equipment, not weapons. Admiral Tae-min had chosen his diplomatic team carefully. Captain Soo-young represented the military perspective. Dr. So-jin brought her expertise in alien languages and cultures. Lieutenant Colonel Minho served as the official diplomatic representative, and Commander In-Woo provided tactical support in case the meeting went wrong. On the other side of the standoff, Ambassador Relkana waited nervously in her crystal chambers. She was young for a Sithari diplomat, chosen for this mission because she had studied Dr. Ketara's reports more thoroughly than anyone else in the galaxy. She understood human nature better than most of her people, which was not saying much since most of her people still could not believe such a violent species existed. The breakthrough came when neither side expected it. A distress signal pierced through space, coming from a freighter that had been attacked by raiders near the edge of galactic territory. The ship carried 300 civilians from a peaceful trading world, and it was losing life support fast. Captain Soo-young received the emergency transmission first. The message was in Galactic Standard Language, which Dr. So-jin quickly translated. "This is the merchant vessel Gentle Tide. We are under attack by unknown hostiles. Our defensive systems are failing. We have civilians aboard, including children. Please, anyone who receives this message, we need immediate assistance." Captain Soo-young looked at the tactical display. The freighter was 4 hours away at maximum speed. The alien diplomatic fleet was closer, but their ships were not designed for rescue operations in hostile territory. She made the decision that would change the course of galactic history. "Dr. So-jin, send a message to the alien fleet. Tell them we are responding to the distress call. Tell them we will protect their people." The Busan Guardian broke from the diplomatic formation and accelerated toward the distress signal. Within minutes, the ship's crew was preparing for combat, while simultaneously organizing rescue operations. Ambassador Relkana watched the human warship race toward danger, with a mixture of awe and terror. These beings had just proven that their violent nature could be directed toward protection rather than destruction. She sent an urgent message to Captain Soo-young. "Human vessel, the attackers are likely Corvan raiders. They are criminals who prey on peaceful traders. They have weapons that can destroy our ships. You should not face them alone. Captain Su Young's response came back immediately. Ambassador, that is exactly why we are going. Someone has to stop them. The battle at Gentle Tide was humanity's first real demonstration of their capabilities to the galactic community. The Corvin raiders had been terrorizing peaceful traders for months. Knowing that the galactic community had no way to fight back effectively, they were not prepared for humans. Captain Su Young's tactical officer, Lieutenant Yuna, coordinated the attack with the precision of a species that had been perfecting warfare for millennia. The Busan Guardian emerged from faster-than-light travel already firing, catching the raiders completely off guard. The fight lasted exactly 7 minutes. Human weapons, designed to penetrate military armor and destroy hardened targets, made short work of the raiders' improvised defenses. Human tactics, developed through centuries of naval warfare, allowed them to protect the civilian freighter while systematically destroying the attacking ships. When the battle was over, Captain Su Young immediately ordered rescue operations to begin. Human Marines, trained for boarding operations and emergency response, transferred to the damaged freighter to help evacuate the injured. Dr. So-Jin established communication with the civilian captain, a nervous Altarian named Welmora who had never seen humans before. Captain, this is Dr. So-Jin of the Earth vessel Busan Guardian. We are here to help. Our medical teams are standing by to treat your wounded. You saved us, Welmora replied, his voice shaking with emotion. The raiders said they would kill everyone aboard if we did not surrender our cargo. They have been attacking ships for months and no one could stop them. They will not be attacking anyone else, Captain Su Young said simply. The rescue operation took 6 hours. Human medical teams worked alongside galactic doctors to treat the wounded. Human engineers helped repair the freighter's damaged systems. Human Marines provided security while civilians were evacuated to safety. Ambassador Relkana arrived with the galactic diplomatic fleet just as the rescue was concluding. She watched human soldiers carrying injured alien children to safety, and she finally understood what Dr. Ketara had been trying to explain. These humans were not monsters. They were protectors. Their weapons were not tools of conquest but instruments of justice. Their violence was not random aggression but controlled defense of the innocent. She sent a message to the Galactic Council that would echo through history. The humans have proven themselves. They used their warrior nature to save 300 innocent lives. They are not a threat to galactic peace. They are the guardians that peace requires. Captain Su Young received Ambassador Relkana aboard the Busan Guardian 3 days later. It was the first time a human and galactic representative had met face to face since the destruction of the Peaceful Dawn. The Sithari ambassador was smaller than expected, with pale blue skin and large black eyes that seemed to see everything. She moved gracefully despite the ship's heavy gravity, though Dr. So-Jin noticed she needed to rest frequently. Captain Su Young, Ambassador Relkana said through Dr. So-Jin's translation device, on behalf of the Galactic Harmony Council, I want to thank you for saving the Gentle Tide and her crew. We did what anyone should do, Captain Su Young replied. We protected people who could not protect themselves. That is exactly why we need you, Ambassador Relkana said. For 3,000 years, our civilization has grown in peace because we were fortunate enough to develop in a safe part of the galaxy. But the universe is larger than our small corner of it, and not everyone shares our peaceful nature. She activated a holographic display showing the known galaxy. The Corvin Raiders are just one example. There are other threats out there. Criminal organizations that prey on the weak, rogue species that might be hostile to peaceful contact, unknown dangers from unexplored regions of space. And you want us to deal with these threats? Captain Su Young asked. We want to offer you a partnership, Ambassador Relkana replied. Your people have the knowledge and ability to defend against threats that we cannot even comprehend. In exchange, we can offer you technology that will improve your lives, knowledge that will advance your science, and friendship with hundreds of peaceful species. Dr. So-Jin translated as Admiral Taemin joined the conversation via communication link from Earth. Ambassador, what exactly are you proposing? We propose that humanity become the first guardian species in galactic history. You would have the authority to respond to threats against any member of the galactic community. In return, you would have full access to our technology, our trade networks, and our scientific knowledge. Admiral Taemin was quiet for a long moment. And our independence? would be completely respected. We do not seek to govern you or control your actions. We seek to learn from your strength while offering our wisdom in return. The negotiations took 3 weeks. Human diplomats worked with galactic representatives to establish the framework for a relationship unlike anything in galactic history. Humans would serve as protectors and peacekeepers, while the galactic community would share their advanced technology and knowledge. The Treaty of New Sol was signed aboard the space station between the two fleets. Captain Su Young signed for humanity. Ambassador Relkana signed for the Galactic Harmony Council. Admiral Timon spoke the words that would define the new era. For millions of years, our world taught us to be warriors. We learned to fight because we had to survive. Today, we choose to use that strength not for conquest but for protection. We accept the role of guardians not because we seek power, but because we understand the cost of peace. Ambassador Relkana responded with words that would be remembered across the galaxy. Today, 2 civilizations become one community. You bring us the strength to defend what we have built. We offer you the knowledge to build something even greater. Together, we will ensure that peace is not just a hope, but a promise protected by those strong enough to keep it. The first human ships arrived at Galactic Council space 6 months later. They came not as conquerors but as protectors, carrying weapons designed to defend the innocent and determination forged by 1,000,000 years of survival. The galaxy would never be the same. For the first time in its history, it was truly safe, protected by warriors who had learned that the greatest victory was not defeating your enemies, but protecting those you love. And in the archives of both civilizations, historians would record that the greatest alliance in galactic history began not with words of peace, but with acts of protection that proved that sometimes the most peaceful people need the strongest guardians to keep their peace secure.